Hey, what's going on, YouTube? I hope everything is going well for everyone. So, mostly all applications ask their users to log in and register. So, with that being said, I wanted to bring you all this series that allowed you all to create your own registration and login page for your users in your own custom apps using Swift. So here is an example of what we're going to build in this tutorial series. So here, when you open your application, the first thing you see is a email and password field, allowing users to actually input the actual login information to actually log in. But let's say if I'm a new user and I don't have an account. So I don't have an account and I click sign up and it presents me with an email, password, and confirm password field. So I have to provide the credentials that I need in order to actually sign up and give it some type of password. And after giving a password, click next. And my passwords don't match. So there we go. Click next, it actually provides me with another display screen, which is our final screen, allowing users to actually input their name, their school name, and the field study and the state they're actually from. And it also gives us the ability to go back to previous. Let's say if I don't want to provide the email a@gmail, I want to provide something else. Or let's say that I remember my login information. I already have an account for this application. By clicking I already have an account, it presents us back to the actual home screen, giving us the ability to log in. So with that being said, let's open up Xcode. Let's create a new xcode project. And I'm going to use the single view application. And we're going to name it login sign up. You just put it on my desktop. So let me try to move the simulator out of the way. There we go. Let me shrink it some. Got it. And move Xcode. Okay, cool. Yeah, I like to have all my space so I can see. Okay, so by default, mine is still in the iPhone 8 Plus. Yours it can be different. It doesn't matter. So since I already have the iPhone X simulator up and running, I'm going to click that one, and I'm just going to hit play to actually build my application just to confirm that it's actually running. So why it does that? So we get a white screen. And the reason we get a white screen initially, because the main storyboard, the background color of it is white. But I'm going to do something different that I'm pretty sure everyone doesn't do. I'm going to actually delete this storyboard. Move it to the trash, and we're going to try to run it again. Now let's see what happens. So it crashes. And so it crashes with the error message. Could not find a storyboard named main. So as you can see, we deleted the main storyboard, so it can't find it. So we click on our project and we're gonna delete it here from main interface. And we try to build it again, and let's see what happens. Crashes again. So still the same thing. So let's go and make it where we can actually see something. So let's click in our app delegate and let's instantiate. So let me stop my thing. And so let's instantiate our window object. Window. And we're going to use the frame constructor, and we're going to pass it the UI screen, the main bounds. And so what the UI screen main bounds, what that does, it gets the bounds of our actual window and assign that frame to our actual window. And so now we have to make our window visible. And now let's actually, let's name it controller equals view controller. So here we're instantiating our view controller, and now let's assign our window root view controller of view controller. So let's assign it controller. And in order to actually verify that it's actually talking to this view controller, we're going to change the background color to red. So let's run it. Boom, voila. And so now we know that it's actually communicating with this view controller file right here. Okay. And so, like the application that that I presented to you all earlier, it had a green color. So let's go ahead and create that color here. So I like to declare, I'm just going to go ahead and make it an early practice. What I like to do, I like to create a new group, and I like to call it utils. And here in utils, I have all my files that I use throughout my entire application. So I create a Swift file, and I like to call it constants. Okay, and import UI kit. And here we're gonna we're just gonna name it green theme. Green theme, THEME equals UI color. And with UI color, we're gonna provide it some actual values. And the RGB color for the green theme that we had is 109 divided by 255, 201 divided by 255, and 149 divided by 255. And we pass it an alpha value of 1. So copy this because I'm lazy and paste it here. And now we should see the actual green theme like the demo application that we showed. Okay, cool. So we have our green theme, and so now let's go ahead and add our first component text field, which is the UI text field for the email. So let's go up here. So let email text field of UI text field equals. So right off the bat, I just wanted to, I didn't say this earlier, but I just wanted to let you all know that I do everything programmatically. I don't use storyboards. With me doing iOS development, using storyboards kind of slowed me down, my whole development process. So I decided to revert to doing everything programmatically. And doing everything programmatically, I have full control over everything. So yeah, that's why I do everything programmatically. So let's do let E equals UI text field. And we're going to return E. And here we're going to say E placeholder equals email. And we want the text color to be white. White. And just so you all can see it, we're going to change the background color to red. Oh, not resizing mode. Oh, background color. Oh, excuse me. It's the red. And we're going to return E. Okay, got it. Okay, we can do the same thing for our password. Instead of email text field, we're going to name it password text field. Password text field. And it's just a pet peeve of mine. You don't have to do this, but whatever I name my variables, I like to name these variables the starting letter. And we can name it password. Yep, same thing. So we can tell the difference. We'll just make the background color blue. And don't forget, we have to pick this. Gotcha. Okay, so now what we're going to do now, we're going to add the actual components to our actual view controller. So I don't want to overload my viewDidLoad method. So I like to make separate methods to actually handle the laying out of the components. So we're going to call it setup text field components. PONEN components. And we make it a file private method, so no other classes outside of view controller actually have access to these methods. We're going to call it this. And within this method, we're going to call two more methods. Setup email and setup password. We'll just name it setup password field, email field. Okay, and same thing, same process. It's just a one good coding practice. You don't want to overload your methods with a whole lot of tasks. If you can break your tasks down into individual methods, it's really good to do that. So if you do have a bug, it'll be easier to find in a method, a smaller breaking down method instead of a method that's like 80, 90 lines of code. Okay, cool. So first thing first, we're going to add our email text field. So view.add subview, and what we're adding is the email text field. Okay, and with the email text field, we're going to actually lay it out in a certain position. So email text. So let's see. After we add it, let's try to run it and see what happens. What should happen? We shouldn't see it up on the screen yet because we didn't tell it where to actually lay the component out yet. So we have to provide some anchoring to actually tell it, hey, I want you to position this email text field in this certain position. So let's go about doing that. So email text field dot, we're gonna do top anchor, and I like to use the anchoring system. So we're going to use the method constraint equal to, and what do we want to constrain it to? We want to constrain it to our view controller's top layout. So view dot safe layout guide dot top anchor, and we don't want it directly on the top. We want it like 16 pixels down from the top. So, and don't forget, we have to put is active true, and what this does, this actually activates the constraints that we give it. So we're going to do the same thing for our left anchor. And so let me give you all an idea of what I'm referring to. So this is the top right here, and this is the actual left, and this is the actual right. So for my left anchor, we're going to constrain it. Oh, wrong method. Constraint. And we're going to do view dot. This time we're just going to do left anchor. And we want to anchor it. We'll just do 24 pixels from the actual left. It's true. And same thing for the right. Right. And 24 pixels from the left is active equals true. Okay, and I want to bring this to you all attention. As you can see, for my right anchor, I'm saying I want to do 24 pixels to the actual right. And what this does, since it's just the right hand side, we have to put a negative 24, because without putting negative, it will extend it out the bounds of this view 24 pixels instead of bringing it in 24 pixels like we want it to. Okay, and with these two constraints here, we provide the actual width. So every component needs a width and an actual height. And so with these, by providing the left and the right anchors, xcode will know how wide the component should be, but it doesn't know how high it should be. So with that being said, we have to actually provide a height as well. So email text field dot height anchor dot constraint, and we're using the equal to constant, and so we're going to give it a height of, let's just say 30 is active equals true. Okay, so let's run it and see what we get. And so after running it, we still don't see anything, and the reason being because we haven't called a certain property to actually break the anchoring constraints. So to actually activate that anchoring constraints. So the property that we need to assign is translate auto sizing mask constraints. We need to set that to false. And by clicking on it, so translate auto resizing masking constraints, it's a Boolean value that determines whether the view's auto resizing mask is translated into auto layout constraints. So we have to set that value to false as well. And so now we should see our actual email text field, and boom, there we go. And so this is our email text field. So let's do the same actual process for our actual password field. So same thing, and we go to our method setup password field, view.add subview, password, sorry I can't type, password text, and we do password dot excuse me. I could copy and paste, but it's good coding practice to actually type it out so you become familiar with the whole process and stuff. So it's very good to write it out instead of copy and paste. So password, top anchor dot constraint. And so with the top anchor for the password text field, we would like our password text field to be right up under our email text field. So instead of constraining it to our safe area layout guide, what we're going to do, we're going to use our email text field dot bottom anchor. And so what it does, this is the bottom anchor of the email text field. And so what it would do, it would take this bottom anchor, and let's say we want it 8 pixels away from the email. So let's say we wanted 8 pixels away from this email text field bottom anchor. So what it would do, it would move it down 8 pixels as a little spacing between the email and the password text field. And so everything else is, besides that one little change, everything else is the exact same as the email text field. So password text field dot left anchor. Oh, wrong method. Constraint equal to. And same thing. And instead of using the view dot left anchor, well, we can't use the view dot left anchor. But to make it simple, we can just use the email text field left anchor, and we'll just do 0 in this time, because since the email left anchor is already 24 pixels in, we don't have to provide 24 pixels for our left anchor constant value for our password text field, because it's going to be the exact same left anchor as the email one. It's true. And password text field dot right anchor, and same thing with the right anchor. We don't have to provide the 24 or negative 24. 0 that is active equals true. And remember with the left and the right anchors, that gives us our actual width, but we actually need a height. So we're going to constrain it. Constraint is equal to a constant of 30, and is active equals true. And so now if we run this, we should see a red email at the top and a blue password field at the bottom. Boom, voila. So we got what we wanted. And so now let's add our login button. So let login button, UI button. Let L equals UI button, and we're going to use the type constructor and provide system, and we're going to return L. And so with our button, we need to set the title color, and so for our title color, of course, we want white, and for the state, we want normal. As soon as it pop up, normal. Cool. And L dot set title, we're gonna set log in for the normal state. Normal. Okay. Okay, and just like I mentioned, we want to break up our anchoring and adding components in our separate methods. So let's make another method, setup login button. And here we're gonna copy and paste, file private, function, setup login button. Let's just give it some spacing for viewing. Okay. And so view.add, same idea. View.add, we called it login button. And login button dot translate auto resize and mask into constraints is equal to false. Oh, what the heck is that? False. And so for our login button top anchor, we want the login button's top anchor to be right up under our password. So the top anchor for our login button would be our password text field bottom anchor. And same thing as I mentioned earlier, we can provide a constant of 8, so that way we can have some spacing in between our passwords and our button. And remember, is active equals true. Please don't forget that, because it's been times that I actually forgot to provide the is active and my constraints don't actually activate. And left anchor dot constraint is equal to, and we're going to use our password text field dot left anchor constant of 0 is active equals true, and login button dot right anchor dot constraint is equal to password text field dot right anchor of 0 is active equals true. And just like before, we have to provide a height. So height anchor dot constraint. So for this, we're gonna set our button as a height of 50. Active equals true. And let's set a background color for our button. Background color, we're gonna use purple. Now let's run this, and now we should have 2 text fields, a purple button that says login. Boom, there we go. Okay, and so one more thing before we actually end this video, because I don't want it too long. Let's add our don't have an account sign up button. So same process. So let have an account button is a UI button. So let h equals UI button, and we're going to provide the type, same thing as system. And for this one, let me pull up the sample application. So as you can see, we have 2 different text colors. And with the way we're doing it now, setting a title color, we can't provide 2 text colors. If we do, we can. If we provide another color up under here, it's going to override the first value. So we're going to have to use something called attributed strings. And what attributed strings does, it allows you to provide customization for your strings, such as the font colors, the font size, etc. So let's let attributed title equals ns attributed string, and here we're going to use string. And okay, and for the first part, don't have an account, and me, put that right there, enter. Okay, and so for our attributes, the attributes we're going to provide in this attribute string up in this attributed string key dot, let's do foreground color. For the time being, we'll just pick white. And type any doesn't, yeah, we have to pick UI color dot white and h dot set. So we have a different constructor, set attribute title, using attribute title for the control state of normal. Okay, so we have our title. Let's set a background color for it so we can actually see it. Equals, let's use yellow. Okay, and same thing, setup, have a count button. So let's go here, file private, function, setup, have a count button. And so here we would like our button to be at the bottom of our actual view controller. So view.add have account button, and remember, same thing, have account button dot translate auto masking resize is equal to false, and have account button. So this time we're not going to set no top anchor, we're going to set an actual bottom anchor. So because we want it to stop like right here at the bottom anchor. So constraint, and so view dot safe layout area guide dot bottom anchor, and from the bottom it's the same idea as the right. So by providing it a positive value, it moves down, and providing it a negative value, it moves up. So we want it to be 8 pixels from the bottom. So we provided negative is active is equal to true. And we're going to provide it the left and the actual right anchor as well, and the height. So left anchor dot constraint. Oh, wrong one. Constraint is equal to view dot left anchor, and we'll just set it 12 pixels from the left. It can really be 0 if you want it to be. It really doesn't matter. Anchor dot constraint equal to view dot right, and we'll just do -12 for the time being to keep it consistent. And for the height of this button, we want it height anchor dot constraint. And for the height, we'll set it to 30 is active equals true. Okay, and so now what we should see, and as you can see, we have our yellow button at the bottom. It's kind of hard to see right now, but we know that that's actually the button because we set it to yellow right here, which is good. So yeah, so we're gonna end this video here, and in the next video we're gonna clean up the UI a little bit and add some refactoring, because as you can see, we're doing the same process over and over again when it comes to actually anchoring these components. And so anytime you find yourself writing code over and over again, you can eliminate code duplication by doing some refactoring. So in the next video, we're going to refactor some code and clean up our UI. So yeah, thanks everyone. See you in the next tutorial. Bye bye.